30 blocks from the heart of our own campus. I'm in the western edge of West Philadelphia. And so I'm in an area of the city that has its share of very high crime. It has a high poverty rate. Things like nutrition and fresh food are scarce. You would consider this a food desert. There's issues of violence that are around here. So basically, I'm in a section of the inner city, and in a few minutes, I'm going to introduce you to one of the most incredible social entrepreneurs in the entire city of Philadelphia, whose name is Arnett Woodall. In the meantime, check out this really cool feature of Arnett to get a sense of who it is we're going to meet.
In recognition of Black History Month, we are honoring game changers who are making a positive impact on communities of color in our area.
A West Philadelphia business owner has transformed a drug corner into a community hub. Jerry Gregg reports on his tiny shop and how it's saved lives.
Arnett Woodall is a proud man.
I'm gonna stay true to the people.
He's owner of West Phillie Produce, located at 62nd Street near Ludlow. Unlike most corner stores, you won't find junk food here. Instead, there's fresh veggies and fruits and healthy options. And that's just the beginning.
We have a garden club, a chess club. We interact with the youth, we interact with the seniors, multi-generational.
A look back 15 years ago, and this corner was rife with drugs and violence. But Woodall had an idea. Asked the youth what would help. They said smoothies and water ice, so they transformed a vacant lot.
We built the whole thing from the ground up, using the youth paired with skilled labor.
Woodall also trained youth in landscaping, construction, and cleanups.
You give them jobs, and you teach them, and you train them, and it works.
Today, West Phillie Produce is a community hub bursting at the seams. They provide safe UPS package pickup, a market for entrepreneurs, and give away tons of produce each week, all while keeping folks safe.
These cameras have been up and operating for 10 years now.
This surveillance helps prevent crime.
It's community policing because it's done by the community.
And the location helped Woodall save lives. In 2013, the West Phillie High Grab pulled a woman from a burning car, crashed nearby.
Not just dove through the fire.
And last year, he saved a mother and daughter caught in crossfire. Soon after, he launched a campaign to save lives.
Get down, don't look around. We teach that.
Making the father of three a source for city and state leaders and lots of headlines.
What's your vision?
Everything that you see here is going to be a solution for the community. And this is just a small prototype model.
Woodall wants more produce shops in urban areas across the country, changing the game by turning drug corners into safe havens. In West Philadelphia, Jerry Gregg, KWW News Radio for CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
So hey everyone, I'm sitting here with my friend Arnett Woodall. We're going to talk a lot about all that he has going on, and and also get into like how can one person do so much. We're at 62nd and Ludlow. Interestingly, we're basically 30 blocks from my office at Drexel, so just 30 short blocks away is Arnett's store from our very own campus. And what I want us to get into are a variety of social issues and economic issues, community issues, and environmental issues, all that impact this section of West Philadelphia. And Arnett, as like a prime social entrepreneur, is somebody whose endeavors actually hit all these different things in one way or another. So to get into it, I just wanted to welcome Arnett and thank him, in the midst of a coronavirus situation and stuff, the fact that he's available and has the time to show us what's going on with all of this. But Arnett, welcome, and give us your little background. Who are you?
Well, good to see you again, Scott. We're socially distancing right now, which will be a requirement probably for the next 2 years or maybe more. if we ever get to go back to what people call normal, our community can't afford to go back to normal. My name is Arnett Woodall, and where we're sitting at is West Philadelphia Produce, which has now been open for 11 years, 7 days a week. Now, built on a heroin, crack, and cocaine line, where they used to sell the majority or a lot of drugs here in this area. We sit on the border of Delaware County, so 1 block over, you're in Delaware County. So we're sitting right here in West Philadelphia at Ground Zero, and we're going to be talking about the effects that this virus will have on underserved communities like this one here. So what we started out in 2001, when heroin needles came to this lot. Now we're all the way up here to 2020, and the community was basically shut down. There was only 2 essential businesses left open once everything was shut down. A corner poppy store and West Philadelphia Produce. Everything else in this area was shut down. Everything on Market Street within the next block around me was shut down because it's nothing but daycares, barbershops, and beauty salons. Your barbershops, beauty salons, they were all black-owned businesses. Some of these businesses you'll never see again. And then they came with an economic stimulus package that's supposed to reach communities like this, Scott. And those economic stimulus plans never trickled down to a community like this. What you're going to see in our communities is going to be different. We have a garden club, we have a chess club, we have a book club that we operate from here. Out of all the programs that we operate out of here, the only one that's still up and running right now is the garden club. We're teaching people because with the food shortage right now that you're going to see, you hear about the farmers having to throw away most of their fruits and vegetables. They can't get it trucked in, they can't get it to the supermarkets. People need to learn and know how to be able to grow right in their own backyards like we teach them here and been teaching here. Our garden is 9 years old. We're here 11 years. The garden is 9 years old. And it's been controlled by the community. So now I have to revamp everything and figure out how to social distance my community programs. How can I have a chess program and if you got to stay 6 feet apart and play chess? How can we all go into the garden and do garden clubs and talk about healthy, nutritional things that you can grow 6 feet apart? So everything I have to be changed, everything I have to be, revamped. And in underserved communities, they need more resources.
Right.
They need more resources.
So, Arnett, it's obviously like a crazy, interesting time, which really further sets the tone of our discussion. Let's lay some context for people getting to know you for the first time, and then get back into the story. But if you don't mind, just to give a little background of who you are, where you're from, just okay. What do you want us to know about?
Well, I'm a graduate of West Philadelphia High, speed boy for life. I played basketball at West Philadelphia High. I grew up in Southwest Philadelphia and West Philadelphia most of my life. I was a teacher aide disciplinarian at a school called Slayton Farms, where I ran the vocational department. And in that vocational department, we had cooking classes, barbershop classes, horticulture, all of that. And with me being the lead teacher aide disciplinarian, whenever one of those teachers were out, I had to sub for that class, or I would watch that class and do my job at the same time. So in the 16 years that I was there, and learning most of those trades in junior high school in the public school system. The public school system was just something else we won't talk about now, because now the children are being taught via computers and stuff. They weren't learning properly when they were in school. So how do we, our children are going to be behind. This is going to have a trickle-down effect that's going to last for a very long time. So being a teacher aide disciplinarian and working in the juvenile system for so long, I seen the disparities in the community, and I knew I could bring more solutions working in the community than I could working in the system. So in 2001, Slayton Farms closed, and I took my severance pay and I started A&W Community Solutions, Advocacy and Work Community Solutions. because there was no proper advocate in the community that was bringing solutions to the community that needed to be brought. And from working in the system and seeing what the lack was in the community that was incarcerating a lot of our young black youth, I just took those programs and brought them out into the community and been doing them for the last, since 2001. A&W Community Solutions has been bringing solutions to the community, like West Philadelphia Produce. West Philadelphia Produce is built in a food desert. There's no supermarket that you can walk to in this area. The closest supermarket is maybe 12 blocks away. And in this direction is maybe 20 blocks away. So there was no supermarket. There wasn't even, when I came up with the idea to build this fruit and produce store here, that corner store was a doctor's office. It wasn't even a poppy store up there. So that store wasn't even here when we first came up and said what solutions could be brought to a heroin crack lot. So we brought the water rice, the fruit and the produce. The water rice and the smoothies are healthy objects that can be sold, and products that can be sold in the community. The youth ran the business. The youth controlled the business. How may I help you?
Can I get a water ice?
No, we're not doing water rice. It's not essential to us. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
We might start doing water rice next week, but when they started talking about essential items, we only was selling the fruit and the produce because that was more essential.
Okay.
So come next week, we'll have water rice to go. We're working out all of that safe distance stuff so that we won't bring a lot of people here getting water rice in line. So we're working on that. Thank you. So see, like we were just telling her, so we sell water rice. We sold water rice here for 11 years. This is the first summer that I haven't sold water rice in 11 years. And the reason we're not selling water rice is because you don't want them lined up here for something that's non-essential.
Right.
So you know, you could be greedy, like you see some water rice stands open. They're not practicing safe distancing. They're not practicing non-contact. Where you know you got to dip that water rice. There's a lot of contact going on.
We just passed Maroney's and it is open.
And it's open and
Yeah.
there's a line. And they're not practicing the safe distancing and stuff like that. So I've seen other businesses open and how they had the function and how they weren't practicing the safe distancing and stuff. And that's just going to get more people sick, and it's just going to keep spreading. So we want to help do more essential business, and that's why I didn't even open up the water ice stand the summer of 2020. I haven't even opened up water ice. And it's about 40% of my business right now.
Wow.
40% of my business right now is the water ice, the smoothies, the cheese pretzels, all of that kind of stuff that we push out of this window. For the water ice, the milkshakes, the smoothies and stuff like that. We're still making smoothies, but nowhere near as many as we normally will be making around now. Right now, I have a line of people out here right now just for smoothies.
Wow. Let's make clear to students that are tuning in, not everybody knows what a food desert is, but like a lot of our students are lucky enough to never have to know what a food desert is. But let's you're talking about things like water ice and pretzels, but then you're talking about other things like healthy produce. How would you define a food desert?
Well, food deserts are defined, well, this might not be the textbook definition, but food deserts are where underserved communities don't have the proper amounts of supermarkets, access to supermarkets, access to affordable fruit and vegetables. That nutrients. So we'll talk about in our community right now. You have on every corner, I can walk from corner to corner. So I can go to 62nd and Chestnut Street, I can buy a hoagie. I can go to 62nd and Market Street, the next block over, I can buy a hoagie. Nothing against those people that do that business and sell that type of sandwich, but what's the healthiest thing on a hoagie? You can go get chips, you can go get with the dyes and with the fructose syrup laced items and ingredients in our community. You can't get the healthy fruit and produce in a food desert. So food deserts are which provide you healthy, nutritional food. So you think about the healthiest thing on a hoagie, and most people would say the lettuce right off the bat. It would be if you were using romaine lettuce, which can be grown right in your community. It would be if you had spinach on it. This is spinach. Iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce has 0 nutrients for you. That's what every hoagie in the underserved food desert community right now has. A hoagie that's being sold to them, and the healthiest thing on the hoagie is the onion, and most people say hold the onion because they don't want their breath stinking. But the healthiest thing on your hoagie is, and they need to do more research and educate our communities, because that's what a West Philadelphia Produce do. A community hub that sells fruit and produce in an underserved community. We teach them stuff just like that. How to make a better, I won't even sell you iceberg lettuce out of my store, because it's colorful and everything, but you can come get romaine. You can come get spinach. If you don't do nothing but demand in the underserved community like this, that the hoagie store sell a hoagie with lettuce, with real lettuce, or some spinach, or some spring mix, or something that's going to give you some nutrients. So your food deserts, you don't have affordable fruit and produce in it. They can't afford it. A tomato up at the Poppy store. A lady came down crying to me one day. She had pepper. She paid 92 cents for this pepper. My peppers were 50 cents a piece, and my peppers were jumbo peppers. So she had this little tiny pepper, and she was trying to hide it from me, because it was in a bag. I could see it was round. I knew it was some fruit. So I asked her what it was, and she said, I'm too embarrassed to tell you now, and I'm looking to see how much yours costs. She paid 92 cents for a small green pepper. She could have got one for 50 cents and saved what? 42 cents. Because your fruit and vegetables that we bring into our community, they got to be affordable for the people. We used to take SNAP. We're not taking SNAP right now, which is the card, which I'm gonna bring back in. It's hard keeping a black-owned business open in an underserved community like this, especially one that sells affordable fruit and produce. If you Google West Philadelphia Produce and you put in, for one, where they say we're the only black-owned fruit and produce store in the city of Philadelphia, it's a hub. We teach what underserved communities need. We're also cloned and dubbed as the model for all underserved communities across the country by fruit and produce business. They say this is what it's going to look like, West Philadelphia Produce in underserved communities. We are partnered with Whole Foods. We've been partnered with Whole Foods for the last 5 years when we became this model for all underserved communities. Whole Foods, someone from Whole Foods seen that article, and they reached out to us. So Whole Foods for the last 5 years have been donating fruit and produce. 1 second, I'll be right. You say, what you need, pepper? Green pepper? Hold on, keep the film rolling. Pan to you. Because we're practicing social distancing. Stay right there. You need pepper?
By the way, as Arnett is going to get a pepper for this woman, talking about food deserts, a pop quiz for you. Who do you think sells the most food from a grocery standpoint in the city of Philadelphia? If you had to like list a few groups that were in the top 10, what would your answer be? Did you think about it? How many of you said Acme or ShopRite? Acme and ShopRite are close to the bottom in the top 10. The top stores that have about 1/3 of the market are these local grocery stores that sell hoagies, chips, cigarettes, soda, Gatorade. That's where people in inner city Philadelphia go to get their food. Guess what's right behind them? Rite Aid and CVS. You got Wawa, someone down there. The big supermarkets that actually have reasonably priced produce, Acme and ShopRite are closer to, like, you know, number 8 and number 9 on the list. So when Arnett talks about, you know, the novelty of having stuff like this, like produce that's fresh, it's a rarity. You don't have it, and it relates to the nutritional issues that you have, you know, through poor communities, not just in Philadelphia, but all across the country. So it's a real thing.
right, I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.
So that's what it boiled down to, you having to do and adjust your business. Where I had people just being able to pull up to the curb and we just serve them right from the car. Where people normally want to come out. Like she wants to come out and she wants to talk to me. Her son knows me, so I'm gonna tell Pee-wee I was here, you know, so people want to get out, they want to come out and they're so cool, we touch, and we like to be around people. So a lot of people are really suffering. The mental health capacity of what this coronavirus is going to do and the lockdowns and people shut in is going to be all different effects that's going to have to be studied in underserved communities and communities across the world, basically. But when we start doing the research on the underserved communities, you got to share the research, and most people just take the research and keep it for themselves. And University of Penn, they work with us a lot, or out here in the community. Drexel, we work with Drexel a lot. Martin Luther King recipient for the University of Penn in 2017. Pico interviewed Black History Person of the Year for 2016. A video that I'll show you guys before y'all leave if you haven't seen it already. CBS 3 Game Changers 2020. You will see that video. That video there and that interview with CBS 3 with Sherry Gregg, that tells a lot about what we've been doing here in the community and what the community means to us. So when you work in the communities, underserved communities, you talk about food deserts, you talk about economics, because right now, if they say we starting back at normal and we want to go back to normal, what was normal for underserved communities like this? The job disparities, the gentrification, the food, low food incomes and wage, you know, everything that affects a community like this. You can't talk about going back to normal. Right now, the mayor's talking about the only way they can fix things is by raising taxes. I mean, who needs taxes raised on them right now? So the economic stimulus money that you just got from the government, now they're going to tax it and take it right back from you, triple fold by the time it's at the end of the day. So, you know, those economic stimulus plans, we still working on a trickle-down theory. We still doing Reaganomics. And the cats at the top with the big buckets, they getting the money. They had $300-something billion for small businesses. I applied for 6 loans. Got none. But Ruth Chris can get 20 million. This one can get 15 million. Universities is getting 15, 20 million. But small black businesses like this, half of them won't get none of that money. It won't trickle down. It don't trickle down to communities like this. And it's a shame. The job opportunities that can be created in communities like this. Right now, while you had everybody on lockdown in the house, you could have hired the youth in the community and put them hazmat suits on and sent them block by block, cleaning up the communities. Look at what your communities look like right now during this pandemic. The trash that you see in our communities right now, that's littered in our curbs and up and down the curbs and up and down the streets, that's how your viruses and your germs are spread, through filth. They should have been coming up with a plan right while we had people. You've seen some other countries, nobody out on the street, and they walking around with disinfectants shooting up and down the streets. Our streets will never be clean like that. Our communities will never be clean like that. You see programs that they had already getting ready, they're supposed to have been kicking off, that was going to clean communities this summer. They had pilot programs, a couple of them that they already strapped those pilot programs. They're supposed to clean our communities. How would you ever knock out the viruses, the germs, and the diseases in our underserved communities when, if we took a walk right now, which we might, I don't know if we have time, but if we take a walk right now, I could just take you on a 1 block stretch and show you what 1 block looks like in this community. And then you talk about slowing the spread of a virus that's killed 500,000 people. Well, how many people have died so far?
I think it's what is it now? We passed 100,000.
We passed 100,000.
Is that what it is?
A lot of people are dying, and a lot of people are sick, and a lot of people are affected and infected. If you don't clean the communities, you got to come up with a more better way, and that one way is creating jobs. And if you don't know how to create them jobs, then you got to talk to somebody that's been doing it. I don't know why the city of Philadelphia has not been talking to someone that has been doing it. They refuse to speak to me. That's why I ran for mayor. Because if you sit and watch somebody develop program after program after program after program that's made cover of every newspaper in your city, because we've been on the cover of every newspaper in this city, the inquiry for all for solutions, not for violence, not for crime, not for rape, not for murder, not for robbery, all different solutions that have made, and everywhere from Good Morning America to ABC, NBC, CNN, West Philadelphia Produce and our A&W Community Solutions have done them all, just giving solutions. I was talking to a professor from Drexel one time, and she was going her bike, about to ride back to Drexel. Professor, I met with you. And she looked at me and she said, when she got on her bike, she looked at me, she said, you know, Arnett, wow, it was great talking to you. She said, do you know you got 40 great ideas in your head right now? The city of Philadelphia, no. They can't act like they don't know. They can't act like they haven't seen what we've been doing. Most of your politicians, from your DA, your Krasner, Meek Mills, you should think come be here shopping at West Philly Produce. Your DA Krasner had to come here to get elected. He was losing a week before the election. They sent him here to come walk around here with me and put me on the cover of the newspaper with him on election day morning. He wins the election because he covered West Philadelphia. I can keep going on and keep going on, but at the end of the day, the people that bring solutions to your communities and bring solutions and real solutions, they don't listen to. This virus is just like the city of Philadelphia was before we had a virus like this. The city was infected.
So Arnett, you brought a lot of things up. Some of them I do want to come back to. I do want to take that walk you referenced. So, but here we have a viewership that includes my two classes right now, which is an entrepreneurial thinking class and a social entrepreneurship class, and you threw out a lot of different things that you're working on. So we want to make the case in this video, just kind of lay out what's been going on. And I'm going to be curious as to some of the minds that are watching this. Again, my school, Drexel, is just like less than 3 miles from here. You know, what kind of help can we give? That's the kind of thing to be thinking about throughout this video. I wanted, before we start going into some other things and also getting a little tour of what you have established here, I think that another thing that people need to have is the perspective. I'm really big on the concept of empathy. And, you know, even with all the sacrifices people are having to make, most of the students that I teach, you know, they have the luxury of being in class right now. They might be secluded at home, and you've met them in the past numerous times. What can you give us an idea, even with, let's go pre-virus, let's go just to the days of Philadelphia.
I don't know where there's a restroom I can use.
Not right now.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Thanks. So let's go. Do you want to comment on that? I wanted to ask you an important question.
I need to comment on that. Now, that gentleman there just asked if it was a restroom that he could use. The only reason that there's not, because West Philadelphia does have a public restroom. I just brought in all the Whole Foods that we get ready to distribute, and the bathroom hallway is covered, and I didn't want. And then we still got to do social distancing. So I would have had to stop, get him to wash his hands. So we're the only public bathroom in this whole area. And see, even up in Kensington, they had to install public bathrooms up in there because of the opioid situation. This is for public safety. We're talking public safety. How can your city of Philadelphia, how can your universities and your big businesses not help provide? And that's why we have this community hub. And this is why these community hubs are needed across the city of Philadelphia. You have senior citizens, you have people out in the community. None of the businesses provide you with bathrooms.
Yeah, and that's not just in these neighborhoods, and that's another thing for you all to consider, like, think about the street walk that I showed last week, and even through like the heart of wealthy Philadelphia, where are the public restrooms? Other than in the train station, where like, think about that. In a big city like Philadelphia, you might not want to think about it, but why isn't something as simple as a safe and clean place to go to the bathroom? Why is that not like just a regular right, for everybody? So that, that's an entrepreneurial question. Like, why are there not restrooms?
It's an entrepreneurial question because there's economics involved. Most of your commercial corridors are where you do your economics at. Market Street, West Market Street is one of the biggest commercial corridors in the city of Philadelphia. It's sitting right behind me. I can hit the L from my office. I'm sitting here, can hit the L from my office. They say we're responsible for knocking out. They say Kensington underneath the L on the other end of the city of Philadelphia, where you see the heroin opioid epidemic ravishing the community. Last year, Philadelphia Sustained Philadelphia, which thank you for providing me and making me the activist of the year last year. They made me the activist of the year for the city of Philadelphia for shutting down the heroin opioid epidemic that was right here. And that's and made a self-sustainable business built on an opioid block. Sustainable businesses that are essential must have them in these underserved communities. Community hubs are important. Out of this community hub, the Clean Team comes out. When we share this CBS 3 video, you'll see the Clean Team comes out of our community hub. Our Town Watch, which is the city of Philadelphia. You're talking public safety, you're talking crime and violence. City of Philadelphia right now is not just facing a virus epidemic or pandemic, is a murder pandemic going on right now in communities like this right now, where you see a murder a day at least. Yep. Right now we're up to 100-something murders already. And we haven't even hit the summer yet. Now, you want to see it spread? Wait till the summer hits. Wait till the summer hits, and then you're talking economics also, because Philadelphia also, when we start talking economics, and you start talking stimulus packages that were sent down by the government, Philadelphia being the #1 big city in poverty for the last 10 years should have been on the curb. They should have got more of that economic stimulus money because we've been in poverty for 10 years. Somebody should be fired that worked downtown in City Hall. Somebody should have been fired. Somebody should be fired. 26% of your people in the city of Philadelphia live in poverty. Right. That's why you need so many food drives going on right now, which if anyone can help, we are trying to organize food drives for the rest of this year, because this pandemic, and when this is called as opening up back up for business, people will still have to find jobs. People will still have to catch up. People will still be behind the 8 ball. We will be feeding people from here. We do it 3 days a week with Whole Foods, but we want to do some major food giveaways from here. If anybody wants to help, please feel free to reach out to me. Arnett Woodall at West Philadelphia Produce. My number is 267-334-5317. This is not over by a long shot. There's still a lot of work to do. There's still going to be a lot of research to be done to find out who's been affected, how they're being affected. Our mental health programs are going to need some help. Our food programs are going to need more help. The answer is not raising more taxes. It's not going to be in raising taxes. You might can cut some of them programs that you've been cutting. Cut the drop program and take that money that's in that drop program and give it back to the community. There's a lot of different things and ways that we can fix this situation and work on fixing the situation, but it's not going to be by raising taxes on the people that's already #1 in poverty, and all we can do is raise taxes.
So Arnett, and let's come back to that. We had that interesting interruption, and then you got into some really interesting issues that are real. And again, Philly, think about that. We are the largest, out of all the top 10 big cities, we have the highest poverty rate, and the 26% that Arnett mentioned. We also have something called the highest deep poverty rate. And these are serious, serious issues. Deep poverty is half the rate of the poverty level, and that's talking about whether you count as homeless or not. When you're in deep poverty, you don't know where your next meal's coming from. You don't know where you're sleeping that night. It's just, I mean, like, how do you rise up out of that? And then 33% of all kids in Philadelphia live below the poverty line. So these are real issues, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. You have a lot of experience with working with youth. help my students understand, like that, back to that empathy question that I wanted to come back to. Empathy is really the ability to kind of like think like, what is it like to be that person? It's not sympathy as much as like, what might it be like to be in that person's head, in their shoes? Like, what are they thinking about? And I was hoping that Arnett could kind of like put us in the mind of the black youth of today, people that live right around here. Like, what's the mindset, again, prior to the virus? I'm just talking about to be in the city of Philadelphia like that, to know what's going on down near Drexel's campus, Center City, and to know that just a few short miles away from that, you have this with dirty streets and the other issues that we're talking about. Bring us into the mind of that person.
Well, it's a lot of them wake up and go to sleep the same way, hungry. They wake up hungry, they go to sleep hungry. A lot of the crime that you may see, like just think of the youth that want to drink a beer all day long. All right, now how you feeling? Yeah. All right, you coming? Huh?
You cooking?
Not right now.
Not right now. What time you up?
In about another hour.
All right, mama.
You lighten it up in an hour. So that's why we give away so much food from here. The community, we're a homeless shelter right now. We see all aspects of it. We see the women that's walking around that's homeless. We see the men that's walking. They're homeless shelter right there. We'll put food out on the table that's a community table, and we'll line it up with food at nighttime. And when we come back in the morning, everything's gone. Some people, they don't have any kind of hope. Some people are just robbing and stealing just to feed their children. How are you? You here for juices? Oh wait, you here for a box? Just wait. Yup, wait right there, and I'll be right out with your box.
Hey, how you doing? So are you getting a UPS box picked up? Is that it? Oh. Do you mind, if you don't mind, is it like you just getting your box of food? Okay.
I usually get like juice.
Oh, so you're taking advantage of the food that he's giving away. Very cool. Do you live close by? How's it been for you with everything that's going on?
Crazy. Trying to get over being anxious and anxiety.
Yeah. I think that's hitting everybody. It's a really tough thing. Do you regularly come to Arnett's place?
I've been coming down for like a few months now.
Okay. Do you tap in anything besides the food that he's providing? Is there anything else you're familiar with West Philly?
I know like the juices that he makes, fresh juice.
Right.
And even I just saw yesterday when I came that they had like different center right there.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, like, say a few words about Arnett's juices. Go figure. I mean, Arnett makes these fresh juices, and a lot of them, not only do they have like wholesome ingredients in it, but sometimes they're actually made for specific purposes, kind of like a holistic remedy, or not homeopathic, but a healthy way to help somebody who might need a little bit more energy or might be feeling down. But any comments? What juices do you like?
The orange carrot mango.
Orange carrot mango.
The one that he makes with the berries. That's so good.
Yeah, and the L might have drowned that out. Arnett's taking the time to make a special order that addresses her specific needs. I mean, that's another thing. Like, who does that? And if everybody did that in the city of Philadelphia, how might the city of Philadelphia be different?
So basically, a box will have some fruit, some vegetables, some cut-ups, but it all comes from Whole Foods, and Whole Foods, I think we've given away with Whole Foods over the last 5 years about 97,000 ton of food.
Wow.
A box like this will feed a family for a little while, but then we encourage them to take and share these boxes with their neighbors. She'll pick this box up and she'll take it to people that she know need it. Come on.
for the word. See ya. So Arnett and I decided to get up and go a little less formal, and I want you guys to get a load of everything that one guy has going on. This is one person. He gets he gets help from the neighborhood, but it's one person doing all this. We were talking to the woman that Arnett just helped for the next 4 or 5 days with the box of food that he gave her. And Arnett, she and I were talking about how amazing your juices are and how you custom made a few. So I'm drinking apple, berries, and ginger. I'm telling you, this is like really, really good. It tastes good. It has the spike, the spiciness of ginger. It's awesome. And what you need to just kind of like stop and think about for a second, it's not even that easy to get this, all over the place in Center City, but who does this in other parts of West Philly, other parts of North Philadelphia, Southwest Philadelphia, where you have these same issues? And that's just like, to me, in all the social entrepreneurship exploration that I've done, I just don't see this anywhere else. And so, one of the things, again, we want to ask is, how do you make what Arnett's doing, his combination of West Philly produce, A&W Community Solutions, how do you make that the norm rather than a rarity that gets a story written on it because it's the only one of a kind? So, Arnett, why don't you take us through what you got going here? This is awesome.
So, this is our little tea bar. So, at our tea bar, you can find different type of teas, a lot of organic teas, but you can come here and get you a cup of tea for $1. No higher than $1 for some tea. You'll see some of the work that we've done in the community. That's our clean team. That's how, them out with the orange shirts on, and some of them don't have orange shirts on. Chess program where we had the youth teaching the youth. We're multi-generational, and we can just be able to get to the community. So like I was telling you, you might have seen us on every newspaper in the city, or from Phillie Cam, the Metro, the Tribune. We've been on the cover of the Tribune like 12 times. Fox News, we've been on Fox News maybe 9 and 10 times. We helped get the MOVE historical placard put up a couple years ago. And we're coming up on an important date. May 8th is the 35th anniversary of the bombing of MOVE out here in West Philadelphia. This article here is the cover of the Tribune, the Enquirer. And it's about food activists, have plenty on their plate. So that's a story about, bringing fresh fruits and stuff. Our juice list. If a person comes in for juice, cold, you come to our cure list. Now, if it's not on this list, you can Google a natural juice cure for anything that ails you. Vertical. I had a lady came in and had vertical. So vertical is not on the list. So we just Google it. And you get the juice cure, and we get the ingredients, and we make the juice for them. We have a healthy menu where we come in and you can get your tossed salad, fruit salad. You can customize your fruit salad. If you come in here and you want pineapples and strawberries, I'll get the pineapple off the shelf. And then I'll come over here and get the strawberries out the refrigerator, and I'll take them in the back, and I'll make you a fresh fruit salad. If you come in here and you want sweet potato fries, I'm going to get the sweet potato off the shelf, and I'm going to take it in the back, and I'm going to cut it up. Fresh, never frozen product. Nobody's doing what we're doing here. Over here, you'll see some of the awards and accolades. We didn't do this for the awards or the accolades, but this is 2019 Philly Self-Sustainable Activist of the Year. 2020, this is KYW Game Changers with Sherry Gregg and the CBS 3 family. This Liberty Bell medal, you won't see everybody get this Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell is from Pico Energy. We were their Regional Black History Person of the Year for 2016. This article here is where we're globally recognized as the model for all underserved communities across the country. Fruit and produce business, September 16th edition. September 16 produce business. Now, when you read this article, that article there tell you a whole lot about West Philadelphia produce, A&W Community Solutions, what we've been doing here. how we are a non-profit mixed with a for-profit. So Whole Foods and and Community Solutions, we give away the food. The West Philadelphia produce side, all of this is for profit. Help keeps the lights on, help keeps the bills paid, help employ the youth. Some of the agencies that we partner with and work with, we work with Welfare to Work program, which is the JEBS program, so we work with JEBS. So they're Welfare to Work people, which is work ready for adults. They're trained here. They're trained on customer service, how to wait on customers, how to make a fruit salad. We also do catering, which I've lost another 40% of my business due to the lack of catering opportunities that we've been able to do. Because West Philadelphia Produce, we take our show on the road and we cater across the city of Philadelphia. When I do the catering events, I'm able to hire more people from the community, more youth from the community, more people from the JEBS program we can bring in. We're also the consultant for Anti-Violence, Anti-Drug Network, the PAN Network. Their youth come to me, I train them, I put them out in the community. PYN, we're partners with PYN. You come down this way, you'll see.
It's Philadelphia Youth Network.
That's Philadelphia Youth Network. We operate under A&W Community Solutions. We're the town watch out of here. You'll see this is another Martin Luther King Award that we got right there. We were the poster child for the I Buy Black business card, which came out by Kenny Gamble. So Kenny Gamble and them launched the I Buy Black business card, and we were the poster child for them. That's me and the governor having the kind of conversation, and I don't think he liked what I was telling him, but I was telling him anyway. This is that article that you see with Larry Krasner that they put West Philadelphia Produce on the cover of the Tribune on Election Day morning, and that helped them out a lot. This is our West Philadelphia Community Clean Team. So this year we had this group, but every year we had hire a group of youth. As you see up there, cleaning the community, those are different programs for different youth organizations, youth opportunities. Everybody got paid. You won't see nobody doing work around here. I don't care how young they were or how old they were. Everybody that worked at West Philadelphia Produce or through our A&W Community Solutions got paid. This is what West Philadelphia Produce used to look like. Before we started, this is where all your heroin, crack, and coke was being sold at right here. They used to act like they was fixing cars, but there was always somebody here selling drugs, or you can come here and sell your drugs. Yup, Obama's 2012, upstairs is a room that we call our community room. We were the headquarters for the Obama campaign right here in West Philadelphia. I was there. They came in from New York to me and asked me to host them. And a couple of politicians from this area got mad because I did it. They said I took some money out of somebody's pocket, so I'm not on the good list because I did it. I helped Obama get elected, and that ruffled somebody's feathers, a politician's feathers here in the city of Philadelphia, in my area, so a politician in this area. So they don't work with me because I did this thing here. I helped them, so they don't help me. So we've been here out of pocket doing these programs for the last 11 years. We've got maybe 1 grant, 2 grants. I think I've gotten 2 grants over the 11 years that I've been doing this here at this location. Everything else that we've done before then has been out of pocket. We've been running A&W Community Solutions since 2001 to the tune of close to $2 million out of pocket. It cost us $368,000, soup to nuts, refrigerators, permits, everything that it took us to build West Philadelphia Produce. We didn't use cheap material. The bricks that you see outside were kind of expensive, but we built West Philadelphia Produce to last, even through an epidemic just like this. So go this way with me. So in this room here is the water ice room, which is shut down right now. So this is where we do the water ice, the smoothies. This is the food and stuff that came in from Whole Foods. So we use this room on these days to take the Whole Food stuff and we box it up and we get it to the family. So they, never tell them what they send us. But we take the stuff that they give us and we sort it and get the good stuff to families that can use it. Back here is where we store a lot of our stuff too. So that's our pantry in the back. So when you get your box from Whole Foods, it'll have fresh food in it, it'll have canned foods in it, it'll have some cakes. Never no telling, but Whole Foods have been, you know, kind of good to us. They give us the shrinkage and stuff, and we take it and we get it to the people that need it. So we be making up more boxes today and getting more food out. We do feeding from here 3 days a week, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. By 12 o'clock, we start getting the boxes of food out to the people. And we've been doing this here now for 11 years. Before we were partnering with Whole Foods, it was West Philadelphia Produce that would be feeding the community. Anything on our shelves before it would go bad, we give it away and give it to the community. Public bathroom, like I was saying, this is the public bathroom right here that the public been using for the last 80. And you should see, we got senior citizen centers around here, and you can have a senior citizen on the way to visit someone at a senior citizen center, because it's happened many times. And those old ladies can't make it from point A to point B without having to go to a bathroom. If you got a commercial corridor, I'm not going shopping if I can't go use a bathroom. Somebody out there, here I come. How are you?
It's Nikki.
What's up, Nikki?
Okay, I need some sea moss. I had made some up for one of my friends. You don't have none? Damn, I'm not.
I got more coming. It's coming, but it ain't here.
I got enough to last me a couple days. All right, I'm gonna come back for it.
All right?
Yeah, I made my friend up a batch.
I'm gonna call it. I'll call you and let you know as soon as it get here.
All right.
It should be here by tomorrow though.
Okay, that's good, because I got enough to last me like 2 or 3 days.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
So see, sea moss, like an item that she's looking for, is a healthy product that comes from the Caribbean. It's a sea moss, and I can show you what sea moss looks like because I got some right here. So what she's looking for is sea moss. Now the water, you take the sea moss and you put it in here, and it absorbs into the water, and people drink this, and the sea moss is actually in there. You see the sea moss floating around in there? That's moss. That's sea moss in there. They put it in their juices. They put it in their salads. They put it in their smoothies and stuff like that. So the rest of the day we'll be feeding people, and most of this stuff and all of those fruit cups over there, all that stuff is donated from Whole Foods, and families that come in, and I make them up a nice box and get it out to them so that they can not worry about eating. You give away chicken sometimes. You know, it's never no telling what Whole Foods I have for me. It could be eggs, it could be milk, it could be bread, it could be, you know, they give us some of everything sometimes. But now that what we've seen the difference in since the pandemic, a lot more people are in the supermarket shopping, a lot more people are buying more stuff up, and the stuff that Whole Foods has been giving us is shrunk tremendous. Where we were feeding maybe every feeding, we might feed 200 people.
Wow.
Now we're down only feeding like 50 to 60 of food giveaway now. We used to give away anywhere from 15 to 20 boxes of food away every feeding day. And a box of food will feed 4 people for a couple of days. So the food crisis is going to continue. We're going to need help with that food crisis. But then that's why we're going to go over to the garden and show you the garden also, because what we do to combat some of the food crisis is we got to teach people to grow their own stuff also. I mean, it's important, and it should be done in high school and everything. It should be more agriculture taught in schools. It should be more, you know what a Serve Safe certificate is? Every store or anybody that's open or anybody that handles food, you got to have somebody in there with a Serve Safe certificate. Our black youth in the city of Philadelphia should be taught this in public school. Serve Safe. You can get them at 16 years old. If you have a Serve Safe at 16 years old, by the time you're 18 years old and you're out of school and you take that Serve Safe certificate, you come in as an assistant manager. There's ways we can fast track and create more opportunity and create more entrepreneurs. Because if you have a Serve Safe certificate, those same juices that you making, I got 12-year-olds. I had 12-year-olds making their own juices, creating their own companies, creating their own labels at 14 and 15 years old.
And that's what an entrepreneur
And
is.
that's what an entrepreneur is.
You don't need necessarily to have a college degree. You don't even need a high school degree. If you learn the basics and how to make a profit, and then the things like you're talking about, so many people just don't know that basics. That's
and then
great,
you take
great
that,
points.
and then you take that basics, and you do go to school. If you do choose to go to school, it just adds to it, and it just makes you that more brighter, that more intelligent, that more smarter, that more successful.
Right.
This is all about being successful at business and learning from successful people. So that's why you got to have social entrepreneurs. So like most people, I don't even know. I get so many names. I don't even. Some people call me a social entrepreneur. Not a social entrepreneur. They call me so many different things. I don't even know what to call myself.
Well, you obviously have a passion for helping. I'm when we walk at I don't know where does that even come from?
Well, it comes from growing up in the city of Philadelphia and being street. I grew up hanging with the pimps and the hustlers, as they would call it. The pimps, hustlers, and pushers. I grew up right in the heart of it. They were like my big brothers growing up. Sad to say, all of my friends are dead in jail. I have one friend left that I grew up with, that I hung with, that I ran with, that I did stuff with, that I played ball with. All of my friends are dead in jail, and most of them have been killed or died from overdoses and things like that. I buried a friend 2 years ago from an overdose on heroin. We teach that right here. We got the stuff, but normally I have it in my pocket. Narcan. I keep Narcan on me. I revive the person from Narcan. You'll see opioid addicted people still in this area. You'll see them walking around when you can see, what you never know. And you got to have people in your community hubs. This is only a small prototype model now. Anybody that's ever talked to me, I've told them this is only a small prototype. It needs to be bigger. But you need to have them. Where this community hub is talking to the community hub 10 blocks away. And that community hub and this community hub, all your community hubs got to be linked up across the city of Philadelphia. You can create a network. If I took you upstairs and showed you the camera system, but the camera system's already been in Good Morning America. You've seen crimes that's happened in the city of Philadelphia right here, predicted. Because I told people, if I put it here, what you would get. It's not like I pulled any punches. When I talk to the politicians and ask for support, if I build this in the community, will you support me? Will you help me? They all say yeah in the beginning. But then they don't come through with no help. Especially if they can't take their name and attach their name to your work. If they didn't build you, they no good to them. If they can't, out-talk you and make you some type of bag man, But for real, if you do this across the city of Philadelphia and put it in some of these hot spots in some of these areas, you can reduce the crime. You can bring more resources to your community. City resources come here. They're handouts in the paper for me to pass out to the community. This year, you're not even going to get an activity fund.
Right.
There's not even going to be an activity fund for your activities that's supposed to happen across the city of Philadelphia because of the coronavirus. That's going to affect all the type of underserved people that's underserved already. Most of that activity fund went to do activities with the youth and the seniors and the people across the city of Philadelphia. You're not going to have no pools. There's going to be one summer that you're going to have to remember. And that we're going to have to take a lot of notes, and a lot of research needs to be done. But once again, that research needs to be done properly. And that research needs to be shared with black leaders across the United States of America to show how this has hit underserved communities and affected underserved communities way worse than some other communities have been affected.
And Arnett, we passed one thing in your store that I want to come back to, because you mentioned gun violence a few times. Mm-hmm. You mentioned losing friends.
Yeah.
And we passed that poster. I'd like you to comment on that.
So,
and please start basic, because I don't think most people watching this would ever think that anything like this would ever be needed.
All right, so basically what you see is a G missing. It's called Get Down, Don't Look Around. So the G and the E is missing, a E and a T is missing. So it's Get Down, Don't Look Around. Now, we've come up with this a long time ago because when they start coming up with different models for shootings in type of schools, and a number of young children, maybe like 5 years ago, a little girl was sitting on the steps in South Philly, and it was a shooting, and she got shot right in the head. Most of your children that you see that get shot in crossfire get shot in the head. So we did our own research and started doing some of our own research through talking to the children. So when you talk to the children and they hear that gunshot and they hear the shots being fired, they're looking to see what's be like firecrackers to them. It is amusing. It's not amusing, but they look to see what's going on, and that's why most of them get caught in the crossfire, because when they hear that sound, instead of getting down, they're looking around. Not just your children do it, but your seniors and just regular people. When they hear that sound, they freeze. A mother and daughter a year ago was caught in a crossfire right here in my store. You can go to Fox News and see that also. Now the mother and daughter, the man was standing right there in the doorway shooting at another man down the street. The mother and the daughter, they just standing there. They just standing there. They don't know what to do. I had to run in here, grab them, drag them in the room, and put them underneath them and lay on top of them. The gunshots must have lasted. They say it was like 35 shots. That was bullet shells was all over my sidewalk. They didn't know to get down and don't look around. Now, if you just teach that, remember stop, drop, and roll? Stop, drop, and roll was for fires inside your house. You had to train people how to survive a fire in your house. So they came out with stop, drop, and roll. And it was a national campaign. You've seen it on TV, you see it everywhere. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Get Down, Don't Look Around has to be a national campaign, especially in underserved communities. Chicago definitely need it. Detroit definitely need it. Philadelphia definitely need it. With the way people are being killed on the streets of Philadelphia, where your public safety measures at? It's public safety. All you had to do was put us in a room with some of your smartest people. A&W Community Solutions and my organization, we give you so many great solutions. Stop, drop, and roll. Get Down, Don't Look Around is just one of them.
And for people that don't think that's real, I mean, what we were just saying, what's the statistic? Today's May 2nd?
May 2nd.
And there have been more murders than there have been days this year, right?
That's right. You're averaging over a murder a day. That's not counting the people that's living from the gun violence. I'm talking about a murder a day where people are dying, but you have people being shot across the city of Philadelphia and they're using more and more bullets. These guns are spraying more and more bullets. You got 30 bullets, you got 50 bullets coming in. I mean, you see the crime scenes living. Those bullets gotta go somewhere. And when people gotta be taught to get down and don't look around, even your average citizen needs to be able to come on in.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
You hear this is one of my partners, and one of my friends.
Yeah.
Now, she's from, let me get my mask on. Come on. All right, so Whole Foods, not Whole Foods, the Food Trust. She works with the Food Trust. The Food Trust and I are partners where they bring healthy, nutritional education, information out to me, and we distributed it from here out to the people in the community. They do giveaways, they do healthy workshops also with us. So she'll come in and she'll fix up something healthy. She'll come in here and purchase items, make something healthy, or she'll even come in here and purchase some of the healthy juices off the cure list, give samples to the people out in the community, give them some recipes for healthy items, for healthy cooking, and they're my partners in the community.
We also give the incentives, the heart bucks, right?
Yeah,
if you don't mind, if you would take a minute, this is for Drexel University.
Oh, goodness.
So we're making you a star, but if you could just, if you don't mind, just introduce yourself and just say what you're doing.
So I'm Ayana Moore, and I'm a project associate at the Food Trust. I'm a Heart Smarts educator. We also do PSC work, which is policy systems and environmental changes through SNAP Ed, through USDA grant funded us to do this work, and so I go into corner stores. Well, we go into corner stores and we do nutrition education. We do marketing for stores. We help them with. We just applied for a grant for Arnett to be able to maybe bring some more people on board, do some upgrades around here. So we look for different funding sources to help store owners. Yeah, that's about it. So I come here to buy his juices. Are great.
So this is, we're shooting this for students at Drexel.
Okay.
They're taking either social entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
If you don't mind me asking, like, how'd you get into this? Like, it sounds like a pretty good situation that you have. It's certainly well needed.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got there.
Well, I lived, I'm from West Philadelphia, so I'm familiar with the corner store environment. Over the years, unfortunately, there's a lot of like unhealthy and bad stuff in corner stores that kids are put into their bodies, and so I also come from a family of social activists. My grandmother was an activist in the 70s, and she grew up in in the West Philly area, so I have that social activist kind of bone in my body to want to do this kind of outreach. And so I came across the Food Trust actually working on my thesis. I did my master's thesis on the obesity rate amongst minority adolescent girls in Philadelphia. And this organization came across as an organization that does work in underserved areas to help, combat the obesity rate and help having less, doctor's visits and things like that. So I ended up volunteering with them at their farmers markets. There's a few farmers markets throughout the city. And so I volunteered, and then I came on board in 2017 to do outreach in Wilmington. And then I left for a little bit to finish up some schooling, and I just came back recently, this past January, to do corner store work, and boom, pandemic hit. So we cannot be in corner stores right now, unfortunately. So we're trying to make an impact in other ways.
Okay.
So that's something that the organization is working through that now, and just kind of planning ahead as to how we're going to help store owners and communities eat healthy.
So that sounds really interesting, and given that you're talking to some students who are probably not much younger than you, you sound like you're a social entrepreneur just like Arnett, and I'm just curious if you want to share a little bit. Did you go to school locally here in West Philly?
I actually graduated from Temple. I'm actually not as young as you think. I'm actually 40.
Well, you look great.
Thank you. But I graduated from Temple in art, and then I ended up getting a master's degree in business. So I have a little bit of business background, but I like partnering with people like Arnett because he's a real business owner, and he's really entrepreneurial, and he's also a champion in the community for healthier food. So it's a good working thing. We can kind of put our ideas together, kind of use both of our skill sets. So
that's cool. And we were just talking about that. The more we mix people like us together, the more solutions that we get, not only that just happen in one localized area, but then they can radiate out. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, because you sound like a great match for him.
Well, the great thing about being at the Food Trust, and every organization has its pros and cons. Organizations aren't perfect, and I'm an employee, so there are certain things that are beyond my control that I can do, but it's in terms of my scope of work because it's grant funded, and politics and policies and all that fun stuff, and I'm not a higher up, so it's like I have to fall within certain guidelines. But the beauty of working for a nonprofit such as the Food Trust is that they do give us a lot of wiggle room and autonomy and creativity to really make magic happen. So there's so many areas that we can go, like we talked about doing fruit salads and pre-cut fruit salads, and actually delivering them to other corner stores. They may not have them, and wholesaling them. That way making money off of what he does, and people are eating healthier. The store owners and other stores are able to make a profit, because the idea with business and social marketing, as we call it, is everybody make a profit, but the people that are getting the product are suffering. They're not getting diabetes. And so,
Right.
you know, the food truck helps store owners and entrepreneurs such as Arnett profit off of healthier food. And we help with marketing. If you have any grant funding to put stickers and things like that, any type of marketing, we'll kind of front that at no expense to him. He doesn't have to give us money back. We just want to see our signage in these stores.
Like the labels that just came in. So where I normally got my labels printed at was shut down because of the epidemic, and they've been closed, so I couldn't get my labels out of there. So they came and they ordered me some labels and got me some labels in here real quick. I had to hand write them. They weren't like the ones I need, but they came in a pinch when I needed them and got me some labels printed up and shipped out real quick. And that's the kind of partnership that I've had with the Food Trust. I'm gonna give you a bill number before you leave that you can add to this, because you'll be able to show that working with the Food Trust and working with the Health Department as a consultant, West Philadelphia Produce and A&W Community Solutions, we also come in as consultants and have spoken on various issues through the city of Philadelphia, making affordable food and produce accessible through the city of Philadelphia. And just last year, we were able to get a bill passed to cut through some of the red tape to get more affordable food and produce out. And that was with the Food Trust, the Health Department, and A&W Community Solutions. We got that bill passed in the city.
And we work primarily in I hate the term, but it's a fact and it's the truth, underserved areas. But we're primarily underserved areas and marginalized people that weren't necessarily get a fair shot at eating healthy.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's much needed. What with your Drexel students? What department are you from?
It's the Close School of Entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a relatively new school, so I'm teaching a class that's basically an introduction to entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking, and then another one that's specifically called social entrepreneurship.
Awesome.
So the kind of stuff that is going on here, it fits right in, and in some of the messaging I like to lead with the students is like, we were talking earlier, when you have like one of the poorest cities in the entire country, and you have these situations that they're not, statistics are showing we're not getting any better. The poverty rate's not going down, hunger rate's not going down. Or what do we do? Just accept it, or what do we do? And so I try to stimulate thinking in my classes. How do we get somebody like yourself and an Arnett, maybe me, maybe another student? How do we build on what's already here?
Right.
And then if this is working here, it's bound to work somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So because I believe that the only way you're going to do true uplift in what you're right, it's an overused word, in the underserved communities. It has to happen from people like you and Arnett, who live here and work here. I don't believe it's going to happen from something I want to kind of segue into. Like, before we head to Arnett's garden, I got to ask him, when you have a mayor in Philadelphia who was elected the first term, and he doesn't do anything too nasty, he or she's all but given to win the second term. So who has the cojones to run for mayor this past November but Arnett? To me, how entrepreneurial is that? But tell me, what spurred that, Arnett?
Well, because when you live and work in communities like this, and you've been working with community organizations across the city of Philadelphia that all have the same plight and the same pride, and you are the leader that don't come and answer those people's cry, and you act like you don't see it, and you act like you don't hear that cry. Okay. Essential. Right now you see essential people doing essential things in the hospitals and all over the place. Think about something like cancer. Cancer is, you gotta go in and cut cancer out. So you got to get down into your communities, where you see the problem at, where you see the cancers at. This is why I came into the community. When they were selling heroin and crack, you could have kept fighting it from the outside, but it's not going to work. You got to come into the community and cut that cancer out, and then you can heal. It's about healing the communities the same way you deal with your body. It's from within. And if you don't get grassroots involved and your grassroots movements involved, you can't keep cutting the grassroots movements out. You got to support your grassroots movements. As you see what they say, a grassroots concept. A grassroots concept. West Philadelphia Produce. A grassroots concept makes a healthy mark in a food desert. It's going to be done from within.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, and I agree. If you don't, and it's graphic what you stated, but it is. If you don't cut the cancer out, all the rest is just band-aids.
But you have to understand how it started too. And so people, like anybody that does not live in an actual community or doesn't live in an underserved area has to say this is a structure that was designed. So you have to, talk to your students as well and say, this is not something that was by accident. And so they have to understand why these things are the way they are too before even make an attempt to spend time here. Because it's easy to come in with pre-assumed notions and ideas as to why things are the way they are and help with the bias, and that's not always great. So you have to really understand why things got to where they are and why they are. And there's a historical
That's the only way you can
context
fix
behind
it.
that.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can fix it is by understanding how it got like that.
Yeah, it's a historical context behind
Like
it.
right now, here in the United States of America, I'm going to give you a prime example of how we think here and how we work here. Right now, we are 2 months in lockdown, or however many days in lockdown, however many months that it even started before we started even taking note of it here. Back in December, it was in China. We're worried about right now who broke it, where it came from, instead of how to fix it. We're more focused on where it came from. Right now, you see the argument. It came from China. It came from here. You can't worry about where it came from. You got to worry about how to fix it. And until we start getting more concerned with fixing things than pointing the finger and say who broke it. Well, all we worried about here was how I got broke, how I got broke, how I got broke. Don't spend enough time worrying about how to fix it. And that's what we got to do.
And to all my social entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs watching this, another thing to think about is this whole idea of going to the source, going to the roots, the grassroots, just the core of an issue. What if we had situations like this tied in to all 300 or so Philadelphia public schools? We're not talking about high-level concepts. We're talking about things like saving yourself, healthy eating, and just think if you could connect, like if this already exists, and you have all these schools right now that are hurting, and even before the virus, Philadelphia, like the success rate of students in Philadelphia, it's deplorable. But we're all talking basics of survival, but basics of getting ahead. They're the basics of what it means to be a successful entrepreneur. How do we match up things like this and get it through the school? What's more valuable, learning trigonometry, with sines and cosines, whatever that does. I'm not knocking it, but whatever that does for us.
How to grow your own food.
Yeah, how do you grow? Everybody can grow their own food. If you have a window and a ledge, you don't even have to have a doorstep. You can grow your own food inside. But we don't teach that. And if we infuse that, that's at the root. So, all you guys thinking about, what do you want to make an impact on? There's loads of opportunities, but once you get that started at the roots, just like a healthy plant scenario, then it spreads up. And so your analogies are really, they're dead on, they're beautiful, and that's what we need to do more of. You show us things in the garden?
We're inside, but just to add to that, we're inside the public schools, A&W Community Solutions, and West Philadelphia Produce. We worked for the University of Penn's Netta Center, PYN. We worked at West Philadelphia High when we were the culinary art chef. We worked with Harambe Institute with the guys and the young ladies, where we teach them entrepreneurship. We're inside Sayre High School, Barry Elementary School. We've done work with Parkway, Center City, you got to be in. When you're a community solutions, you're going to be everywhere. When you're grassroots, you're going to be everywhere. You're going to be into everything. And you have to be. It's the only way it works.
See what you walked into?
I can't even get juice in it.
Well, come on, you going with us.
Go ahead in. This is cool stuff.
All right, so I know
We got pollination taking place right in front of us. Awesome. In West Philly.
So I let my this is a kale here, and my kale is stunted because I know the flowers come, but I let the flowers come on purpose because, as you see, you're attracting the bees. You don't know how important your bees are to you. There's a lack of them now. But just putting a small community garden in an area like this, it brings so many birds. You hear the birds? You see the bees? The birds and the bees. What's up, my brother?
And look at that, a small lot like this, with this amount of plants, and listen to the wildlife that you're getting. Think if every block had a few of these. Especially, think if Philadelphia with 40,000 vacant lots, what if everyone had a treatment like this?
So look, this is kale. This kale right here. So and it's organic kale. Come on back here. I'm gonna show you some other stuff that's growing. So this is an herb box. That's rosemary. A lot of you women, y'all like this here.
I see strawberries.
That's your sage. So that sage should be growing. You got mint all in the back. Cilantro's growing over here. So that's cilantro coming up. That's your mint.
And Arnett, tell us why you did it at the level at which you did this garden. Why is it not at the ground level?
All right, so what we teach elevated gardeners because when you elevate a box and you want to get your seniors involved, so what most people call an elevated box is just a box sitting on the ground. And that box that's sitting on the ground, I'm too old to get down there. You too old to get down there. Even the young people, can't nobody get down there to the box. So when I was at Slayton Farms, I elevated the boxes for some youth that were not handicapped, but they had some, handicapped. I guess I can call them handicapped. So we started elevating the boxes so that they could just walk right up to them, and then they could lean on them. Because of their bad backs and their bad limbs and stuff. One of them was shot, so he had got shot and he couldn't do a lot of bending. And this was a youth that was inside the juvenile prison system. So I elevated the box for him so he could work out of an elevated box. Once I elevated that box, I seen that when his parents and when people came up to work with them, everybody wanted to come and lean on the box and work in the garden. So 20-something years ago, I came up with the elevated garden concept where I've been elevating boxes because I saw how it would multi-generationally bond seniors with the youth, and they would all work together because that box was up at a different height that they could work in. So from there, we just worked on elevating everything. These are raspberry bushes over here. Raspberries will be coming. Look, they coming now. Going to be raspberries. And we normally have a lot of raspberries. We grow watermelons.
And let me tell you, as someone who's worked with Arnett now over the last several years, having been to this same spot over the years, he's getting very little bit of help because of the social distancing. But even with what you have here, it's hard for you to conceive right now, it's because it's only May 2nd, how much produce can be grown out of a small single vacant lot like this. Check out what's going on. This is a wealth of fresh produce that he's going to be growing, I'm sure, right into November.
So then this is a reap what you sow garden. So the seniors and the children come in and they would normally be running the garden and doing all of this work in the garden, and then after stuff grow, they get to take the stuff home, or we do cooking classes and cook it right here on site. But my garden could be in better shape, but it's not because I haven't had any volunteers coming out. And I've been basically doing it. What's your student's name?
Yeah, I want to do a call out. So Samantha Wong, who's also helping with our Land Health Institute nonprofit, took diversity entrepreneurship with me in the winter term, and for her final project, Arnett can fill in the details, but she helped with a lot of this.
She built this box. Me and Sam built this box. Sam brought another volunteer with her. What was his name?
Adrian Pacheco.
That's right. So Sam and Adrian came out with me, and they helped me put together a couple of my boxes, because as years went by, these boxes was falling apart. So this box is nice and sturdy and up and running, and it got all our herbs in it. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Drexel University for letting, and Scott for letting them come down here, and they worked on their class project, and everything that you're gonna see over here, Sam and Adrian helped us plan also. These are all starters. This is all carrots in here. So these are carrots. So you see these leaves here, they carrot leaves. But what we need is just help in the garden, just weeding and keeping the weeds out of our beds. It's just been me out here doing it since Sam and them, I told Sam, to cut back on coming once we started doing a more social distancing. But look, lettuce, different stuff growing. 9 years we've been growing back here. For 9 years we've been back here. Watermelons, cantaloupes, we've grown a little bit of everything back here. Our compost pile hasn't been flipped in a little while, but it's just need more help and more resources. Once things ease up,
really all trying to help the community. So we're part of my club too, partnerships.
yeah, but you see them bees? Look at that bee. Get that picture of that bee. Yeah.
I've never heard of them. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know too much about them, but a friend of mine works with them, and I'm on their website.
I'll be right back. I gotta get a box for her. Black history in Philadelphia. So 35 years ago, coming up this May 8th, Mother's Day, not May 8th, but Mother's Day, will be the 35th year this year, 2020, that the MOVE bombing happened here in West Philadelphia. I was instrumental in helping get this historical placard put up about this bombing on MOVE. Here was another little article about it right here. So that's Ramona, Africa. That's Karen. She's from the Jubilee School. So the Jubilee School were a group of children, and they went to put some flowers down at the MOVE site, and there was nowhere for them to put the flowers. So they wanted to put that historical placard up, and they tried for 2 years and couldn't get it done. So Ramona sent them to me, and I went through and helped them get the historical placard put up, which commemorates the bombing of and burning up of 61 homes, and 11 people died in the fire. I didn't do it for any political reasons or anything like that. I'm an advocate. A&W Community Solutions stands for advocacy and work. There were 5 children that died in that fire, and my involvement was strictly and solely for the purpose of making sure that those children that died in that fire were not forgotten. So when the historical placard was put up, it talks about the 11 people that died, but significantly 5 of those people that died were children. And it's not a black or white issue, it was a right or wrong issue. And it was wrong to make the decision to drop that bomb.
And Arnett, if it, just for everyone from my class watching this was born after the whole MOVE fiasco took place. So just a few words on what happened in 1985? Just what were some of the basics that led to literally the dropping of a bomb on a row home? Think about Philadelphia. It's the city of row homes, on a single row home attached to all these others, made by the mayor, head of police, and I believe head of the fire department.
So, well, basically they have been, even before they were over here on Osage Avenue, you had the Powhatan Avenue standoff, which happened years before that. You just had all of the MOVE 9 released from prison because they've served a lot of years in prison. I think it was something like 40 years in prison that they served. When they had the standoff down the bottom on Powhatan Village, a cop was killed. And from the trajectory and everything that the cop was killed, they said that it had to be friendly fire that killed them. But those 9 MOVE members went to jail for a long time because they were basically back to life or, it was a movement. And the movement that they were teaching, you'll see right now today, we're talking about the same thing that they were talking about. They were talking about growing your own food. And they used to be on the bullhorn, and they used to talk about a lot of different things that happened politically in the system, how the system wasn't politically correct for people of underserved communities. They talked about back to Africa ways and just basically eating good food, veganism. They talked about growing their own foods, but the method that they used kind of upset some of the neighbors. It kind of upset some people, and it created a conflict. So once they had the Powelton Avenue standoff and that was over with, then the MOVE organization was over here on Osage Avenue. Between the neighbors complaining and the different things, they were in a fortified home, the house was fortified. The decision to drop the bomb on them was made not by the mayor, but the mayor took responsibility. Somebody should have went to jail, actually, in my opinion. As a scholar, I feel like somebody should have went to jail. I felt like it was the wrong decision. And it has affected this community to this day. Because they just took 11 of those MOVE houses and sold them for $1 a piece. Now, when you start talking about gentrification in our communities and stuff like that, they sold these homes for $1 a piece to a company that was only a year old. This company was put together for the purpose of purchasing 36 homes for $1. They purchased those 36 MOVE homes for $1, and they rehabbed them. And now those MOVE houses that sold for $1 a piece are now being sold for $250,000 a piece. Now, when you turn around where you have a $70,000 house next door to a $250,000 house, your taxes go up. Those $70,000 homes now are out of the tax bracket, and they can't keep their homes, and that's how you do gentrification.
Right.
That's how gentrification is started, by the disproportionate pricing of properties to make the value go up. And most of those homes, even though we all need to be living together anyway, but you have to infuse the community and transform communities while you preserve those communities' heritage. So you can't just gentrify the community out. You got to create jobs for the people that live in those communities so that they can keep their homes. At the same time, those communities are being transformed. So you can't transform them and don't preserve the heritage, because that's what gentrification is when you take a community, you don't preserve the heritage, you don't preserve the culture, and you drive the price of the rent up or the housing expenses up, and people can't survive.
Yeah, so very interesting what you did here, and to also make it understandable. Throughout Philadelphia and throughout Pennsylvania, you occasionally get these blue and yellow signs like you saw in the picture that Arnett referred to, and we'll show in person in a little bit. Those signs usually commemorate something that the community is proud of, and it sounds like, Arnett, you thought it was important enough to take something as controversial as a city deciding to do something that actually killed innocent children, among others, and actually have a commemorative sign about that. That, again, that kind of activism, that's entrepreneurially driven, in my opinion. But very interesting.
It is interesting, and it's entrepreneurial driven, because something like that only happened twice in the United States of America, and that's what made it historical to me, and that's where they couldn't argue the fact. Once they was like, well, what's so historical about it? Because the question did come up, well, what's so historical about this? There was only been 2 times in United States history where a bomb was dropped on a community by the government inside the United States of America. It's only happened twice, and it's both times it happened in underserved black communities. The first time was the bombing of Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, they had a race riot because of the economic situation that was going on in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the economics was taken note of. They were building factories. You had millionaires. They had a bus system. They had a school system. they had businesses all over the town, and they were keeping those dollars in the community. And then one next thing you know, you have this race war over a man looking at a woman, or whatever the case may be, or whatever the case turned out to be. Next thing you know, you have blacks being killed, and you have blacks being bombed, and it's only twice that it's happened: Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Osage Avenue. So that's what makes it historical, because it's only been done twice. They wouldn't think of doing that in other communities or in other areas. But how can you accept dropping a bomb on underserved black communities twice in your history? So you pointed that fact out, and then nobody wanted to argue with me no more. And the next thing you know, I got the placard being put up.
Very cool. Okay, so I wanted us to just kind of wrap up things with Arnett. You know, having gotten a dynamic look at his business, all that is going on, you know, in one small corner of West Philadelphia, which I think is pretty astonishing stuff. And so I wanted to give Arnett a chance. First off, you know, are there any other words of wisdom or advice, you know, to the undergrads who were watching this, future entrepreneurs of our city, country, and world? What would you like to leave them with?
I'd like to ask you to keep being creative. In times like this, we must keep being creative. We might not be learning in the settings that you have used to be and accustomed to learning in, but this is going to be a new awakening for us. This is going to be a way for us to come up with more creative ideas and be more entrepreneurial. We'll be able to overcome what's going on right now. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. We've lost a lot of people across the United States of America and across the world to this pandemic and this virus, but please be assured that this is not the end. Zoom conferences, we're going to be coming up with new ways, new creative ways to educate, to learn, to teach. We always must keep being entrepreneurial. We must keep learning. We must keep teaching. Stay positive, stay focused. Do not let anything sidetrack you right now at this point, because right now is when we need all the creative minds working together. Think tanks. If you ever want to have think tank discussions, I got a Zoom connected to this. Let's do some more think tanks. Let's do some more talking. Let's get together and let's see how we can combat this and come up with some good creative ideas. Because I got about 40 good ones as report to one of your professors at Drexel. I got 40 good ideas in my head right now. Come on, help me get them out. I can help you get your ideas out also. My name is Arnett Woodall. I'm the owner and builder of West Philadelphia Produce. I'm the CEO of A&W Community Solutions. Solutions for underserved communities are at the foremost frontal. That's all we keep thinking about. What type of solutions we can bring to the table. Together, we can bring more solutions. We need the university's help. We need to attach to the universities, like we just said. West Market Street comes straight down there to the universities, both Drexel and the University of Penn. I'm in the bookend. I'm at the end at 62nd and Market Street. I'm coming your way, with or without you. I'm coming your way. The West Market Street Improvement Association is also another tool. Our West Market Street Improvement Association wants to improve the quality of life for not just the people that live in our city, but the people that live in our community, the people that visit our city, the people that come and learn in our city. So our West Market Street Improvement Association is geared toward making it safe for you to be able to come out. Even in your social distancing, you still should be able to come out in your community, have a quality of life, be able to have safe conduct and safe travel in a clean, safe community. Together we can do this. We can create jobs. We can make the community safer and cleaner together. So I'm just asking you to come work with me, help me be able to transform this community into a place that's suitable for everyone's well-being and everyone's well-living. It's quality of life that we're talking about here. 18 South 62nd Street, right on the corner of Ludlow. My phone number is 334-5317, and I can be reached at arnettwood@yahoo.com. That's ARNETTWOOD@yahoo.com. It's not over. It's just the beginning. We're never going back to normal either. We're going to be better this time. We're coming back better, more stronger, more equipped. We're not going back to normal in this community ever. Thank you.
And I want to say a huge thanks to Arnett, making the time at a time that's like added challenge to his business, as you can see. And I encourage you to think about some of the words that he had to say, because how can we as social entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs in general, how can we learn from some of this stuff? How can we partner? And how can we actually make the inner city of Philadelphia stronger for what we just heard today? But thank you very much, Arnett.
Thank you, and I appreciate you coming out, Scott. And we want to keep social distancing. We're going to keep on working on finding out ways to help the community. We'll keep feeding the community, but we need more resources. So if the universities or people want to bring some of those resources, reach out to us, because the resources will meet the people. They will reach the people. They have been reaching the people from here for 11 years now, but we've been doing this a lot longer than that. Help us reach more people. Come on out and help us save this world. We can start saving the world by raising the poverty level in West Philadelphia, and it will spread just like it can spread, and we can take care of more people. Together we can do it. Together we can work this out.
Very cool. Thanks. We're standing in front of 6221 Osage Avenue, and this is the site on which 35 years ago, come this May 13th. So May 13th, 1985, there was the group called MOVE. They were a group that stood for Black liberation and a certain kind of back to nature lifestyle. They also were militant, and they had a storehouse of weapons here. And the city and the police department made the unwise choice to try to get the adults out of the building. It's on the roof of 6221 that used to be here that they dropped a bomb. The bomb proceeded to burn 65 and destroy 65 homes on this side of Osage, that side of Osage, and another section of Pine Street, which backs up to these houses over here. And in the process, not only did 6 adults die, but 5 kids died. After that tragedy happened, the city picked a developer and rebuilt these homes. And believe it or not, the homes were not properly built, and some of them had to be torn down, or basically almost torn down and redone. 6221 still stands boarded up, but as you can see, all these houses now are currently being lived in. But again, think about the decision in Philadelphia, which is definitely a city built of neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods are built up of row homes. That's what one of the things Philadelphia is famous for. You know, what went into the thinking that if we drop a bomb on top of a row house, that it's going to stay just, in the range of that row house. Let alone what went into the thinking when not only were there 6 dangerous adults living in the house, but 5 innocent kids. And now we're looking across 63rd Street, also known as Cobbs Creek Parkway, to see a green oasis of sorts, which is Cobbs Creek Park. And as we just heard, Arnett Woodall was one of the instrumental folks in getting a controversial sign like this erected in honor of the people that were killed in the Move fire.